You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Happy opening day 2024. The Major League Baseball season and the minor league baseball season return this week as we welcome you into the latest episode of the Show Before the Show podcast. Tyler Mon, Benjamin Hill, Sam Dykstra. It's opening week, gents. It's actually opening day on the big league side. Well, kind of. I know that we've already had 2 regular season games played across the Pacific and Korea, but today everybody gets to jump in as we kick off the 2024 big league season. And tomorrow, Friday, March 29th, we're kicking off the AAA season as the minor league baseball campaign gets underway. Fellas, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah, things are good. Things are good. Everybody has that kind of optimistic air right now walking around the MLB offices. Everybody's wearing caps. Everybody's wearing jerseys. I've got my Roberto Clemente jersey on today and a Brooklyn Dodgers hat.
I was going to ask what the jersey was because
Yeah.
I can see the collar and it looked Pirates-esque, but I was going to ask.
Yeah, so I wear the Dodgers hat and the Pirates jersey to represent Roberto Clemente's history as a Rule 5 pick, the most famous Rule 5 pick in history, getting taken from the Dodgers, going to the Pirates, obviously having a Hall of Fame career in Pittsburgh. Just what it feels like a costume, but a fun way to celebrate baseball history. Everybody's walking around wearing their favorite caps. Everybody's a little excited. We can't do that whole thing of like everybody's in first place today because of, like you said, the Dodgers-Padres Soul Series.
Yeah.
In which they split, but
that's true. They split, so I guess like kind of everybody's in first place.
Kind of everybody's in first place, but not everybody's 0-0. So
true. That is true. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, things are good. Things are excited. I mean, we're excited for AAA opening day tomorrow. As I say every year, I'm just excited to talk about new things. Spring training is one thing, but it's like we always put that off to the side. How much does spring performance matter? Guys are getting into the swing of things. Tomorrow we have real games to talk about, and we'll be talking about them all summer as we always have. Ben, what are you looking forward to about tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, Sam kept saying like everybody in the office is wearing hats,
and Ben's not.
And I'm wearing just a gray button-down shirt and no hat because honestly, I'm not going to say I didn't get the memo. I did, but I forgot to dress for opening day today, which is okay. You know, we're adults now. This isn't like a kindergarten class where we're dressed up for an Easter party.
I wear a hat like every day of my life.
Professionalism. I'm an adult, so I bring up professionalism. I never wear hats, t-shirts, in any circumstance anymore.
That's pretty much all I wear. So I know that I bring up the lower end of the maturity level on this podcast, but we're excited to kick off this 2024 season as the minor league baseball campaign opens play tomorrow. And we welcome you into this week's episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, the official podcast of minor league baseball. We have a bunch to get into today. We're going to talk about opening day stuff on the field, of course, with top prospects who are joining their big league rosters to kick off the season, or will be a step away from the major leagues at AAA to kick off the campaign. Wherever you found us, you can, of course, get in touch with the show, podcast@milb.com. And all right, gents, we are going to get this thing started with a very fun new draft concept that Ben, I know you and Sam created this week at some point. And I want you guys to break this down because I'm very excited for this. Now, I am wearing a hat that may tip off one of my selections, but that was not a deliberate choice. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I needed a hat to match it. So for those who are unable to watch, which would be all of you because this is an audio medium, I've got an Omaha Runs hat on because I have a sweatshirt that has green in it. And it was like the only AAA green-ish that I should have thrown on my Denver Zephyrs hat. That's what I would have done. That would have been a very neutral arbitration sort of thing. But I didn't do that. So explain the draft so I can stop rambling.
Yeah, this is Sam's baby, actually. I have not done much with it, and I want to hear Sam explain it, so I make sure that I know all the rules. Tyler, you and I are in the same boat. We are at Sam's whims.
At
and
Sam's mercy,
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
like
I've-
his patrons in Times Square.
Yes. And I will be looking forward to your tip afterwards. Thank you very much. So the way we're doing this is we are building our own AAA franchises. And we're going to do that through a 5-round draft. We're going to be taking picks in 5 different categories. Those categories are team identity, which is just main identity. What is your main team name and logo set? Alternate identity, which can be anything. It could be Copa, it could be Marvel, it could be food-based, it could be something else locally, any alternate identity. Stadium, which we're going to say everything about the stadium, everything about the ballpark, like where it's, we're not picking it up and moving it to another city where you are playing in this place. So you are playing in the surrounding area. Like all sorts of factors go into that one. Top prospect, which is something you touched on earlier, who is opening the season with that team automatically gets moved to your team. We're only doing one. We're not doing full rosters. We're just doing who is your headlining top prospect. And then mascot is what we're doing to round out the top 5. Again, it doesn't matter. Like it's not locked into a team. You could take somebody from Charlotte and move them to St. Paul, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
You have to be very strategic too, because you could be in love with an identity. And once you select that team, you can't select any of their other counterparts in this draft, correct? So if you pick the team identity for X franchise, you cannot also select that team's mascot.
Nobody can.
Right.
So once, if you were to take Worcester in any category, it's off the board for all of us. Man. So the idea here is that we are going to be featuring 15 of the 30 teams, which we're trying to spread the love as much as we can here. There are a lot of deep categories here. And also, one other thing I should say, you can pick any category at any time. This does not need to go in order. You're not necessarily taking your team identity first. If you really want a top prospect, that could be your number 1 pick. If you really want a specific stadium, that could be your number 1 pick. There's going to be lots of strategy going on here. What do we prioritize when we're building a franchise is, I think, huge here.
Yeah.
Now, who wins?
Who wins?
You, the fan.
You, the fan. Yeah. AAA baseball in general. No, we'll come up with like an online poll of some fashion, whether it's through Instagram.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Or X or Twitter or whatever. Just polling our family and friends. Maybe that's how we do it too. Which is, the listeners. You're all our family and friends.
Exactly. Oh, that was sweet.
We actually don't have family and friends beyond you.
Yeah, listeners. So we really need your input on
this. That is true. My only friends are friends I have on the internet.
Yes. So as always, that we're going to do this. And again, I know, Tyler, you're not going to be able to see me do this, but we do go to random.org.
How convenient, as always.
The order I have typed them in is Ben, Sam, Tyler. I went age before beauty and then beauty before age.
And are you calling me old and ugly? Not even the oldest one on this podcast. I am the.
I went in alphabetical order, but it just sounded better if I went age before beauty.
I mean, he also did do that.
Yeah, it is also a thing.
All 3 things.
Ben confirms. All right, so I'm going to press randomize. We're going to go snake order. It's not perfect. It's 5 rounds, so whoever gets the first pick is going to. It's just the way it is, but it should be fun no matter what. So randomize, and it just stuck.
Yeah.
How random is that?
It didn't randomize at all. It is Ben, Sam, and Tyler.
Rip off.
I'm so sorry. All right. So I have entered that into the doc. Ben, you have the first overall pick in the 2024 The Show Before the Show AAA draft. Who are you selecting and in what category?
Well, because I ended up with the 1-1, I am going to go with the category I know the least about, and therefore go to the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates AAA affiliate, Indianapolis, their home team, the Indians, pitching at Victory Field this season and throughout the International League, Paul Skeens, ladies and gentlemen.
The number 1 overall pick goes number 1 overall in the draft. Now, what do you want to expand on that a little bit? Just because, is it because you know so much about the other categories? You're going to,
I know
the depth of knowledge.
Yeah, I know the least about this. I know that in the prospect realm, Paul Skeens is just about the biggest guy out there right now. once it gets below Paul Skeens, I know some names, but I don't really know how to rank or really talk too much about them. But Paul Skeens, I know he's got formidable stuff, a mustache, potential, and therefore that's why I'm picking.
He does have a very formidable mustache.
He does have a Ford, which will be on an Altoona bobblehead.
Yes,
as we know.
Yeah.
April 13th.
Bobble stash. Yeah.
The bobble stash and head, 2 bobbling body parts for Paul Skeens, the Altoona curve on that's April 13th. We talked about that. What was that? Just last week, I believe.
All right. So just to reiterate now, the Indianapolis Indians are off the board for team
Off the board
completely. You
for
can't
everything.
use Victory Field as your stadium. You can't use their mascot. You can't use anything. So Indianapolis off the board.
Yeah, can't pick Rowdy the mascot. I saw him do a backflip last year on the field. Good job.
So Ben and his love of the 102-mile-an-hour fastball and plus slider goes with Paul Skeens at number 1. I have the second pick. I want my basic identity. I want to get this out of the way. I think what is maybe the most recognizable identity, maybe in minor league baseball, I feel like, I don't want to say certainly at AAA, but like it's definitely in the conversation.
I know what you're going with, and I'm going to be mad.
I'm going with the Durham Bulls.
Dang it, Sam.
I'm going with the Durham Bulls because you're going to look at it. You're going to think of the movie. We're going to be identifiable across the country. It was a different team in the movie. It was not a AAA team at that time, but there's so much we can do with Bull Durham and the Durham Bulls. So Durham Bulls, welcome to Team Dykstra. You are our main identity.
You're a jerk. I was gonna take the DBAP. I wasn't gonna take the identity.
That would be a good pick. Like that's the thing. Wooly Bull is now off.
I know, yeah, exactly. And Wooly Bull
One
is
of the
gone.
best mascots in all of minor league baseball is
Yeah.
now off, and that really hurt me to think about. But
yeah, and a great ballpark, as Tyler said.
yeah,
It's a ruthless game we're playing.
it is. It is a ruthless game.
This is very difficult. I feel like I have to go. I don't want to lose out on a great mascot. And I get back-to-back picks here.
You do get back-to-back picks. That is
So
how this-
I think that I'm going to make a pick and then I'm going to accompany it with a story and then I'm going to make my second pick. I think my first pick is going to be a mascot who still makes me giggle as though I am a child, and that is Orbit from the Albuquerque Isotopes, who I will be taking with my first selection. But I also want to tell this story. Like, gosh, this is probably, I don't know, 7-8 years ago now. Josh Jackson and I took a trip to Albuquerque. We hung out at some Topes games together. We did a little fly fishing in northern New Mexico. We had a blast. But on our first night there, I saw Orbit wandering around the ballpark, and I was like, look at Orbit, he's so cute. And I yelled to Orbit and I said, Orbit, can I get a hug? And Orbit came up, and I was so entranced in the moment that I was going to get to hug one of my favorite mascots in minor league baseball. And as soon as we embraced, if you have kids in the car, you can turn this part down because it'll ruin the illusion for them. As soon as we embraced, the person inside Orbit like grunted, and there was just the smell of like, oh, right, this is a human being in a mascot costume. It really, really removed me from the illusion of like, look at this cute furry mascot. So I still love Orbit, but it did bring me back down to earth.
Tyler, space creatures can grunt and smell.
That's true.
Us humans aren't the only
That's
ones
true.
grunting and
Right.
smelling out.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
right.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it was just a smelly, grunty space creature. Yeah. Okay.
Which you have
all
used on your first round pick.
right. So I'm going Orbit, round number 1. And then I think, even though I have not been to this ballpark, it is by all accounts one of the true gems in all of not just minor league baseball, but in all of baseball. I'm going Southwest University Park in El Paso, because place looks amazing. It is one of the best, not just ballparks, but environments and atmospheres of minor league baseball with the fans and, how loud it is. And it's been sold out. It feels like every single game since it opened. So I'm going to take Southwest University Park. We got to have energy in this franchise. We got to have a fan base that's going to get after it. And Chihuahuas fans, I'm looking to you.
Yeah, that's a great pick for ballparks. I get that inevitable question, what's your favorite ballpark? And I never have just one favorite, but I generally throw El Paso in the mix, especially the AAA level. Incredible architecture in that ballpark with the rooftop deck. and part of the big doghouse building. And Mexico, Juarez, Mexico.
Yeah, you can see it from the ballpark,
You
right?
can see it from the ballpark. You can walk there. I did that once, not when I was in town for a game, but when I was in town for the promotional seminar in October 2019. Walked to Juarez that night, and pretty cool to walk to another country.
All right, back to Ben we go with his second selection of this
No, it's
AAA
me.
draft. Oh wait, what? No, we're going
Snakes.
snake. Oh yeah, Ben was first.
I'm always second in all
Whatever,
these rounds.
Sam.
I put you guys first. I'm always second.
Age before name alphabetical order.
Yeah, sure.
What?
I'm gonna pick up where you left off there, Tyler, with my ballpark. And I am gonna go with Charlotte's Truist Field. I guess I'm going for a little bit of a North Carolina feel here. That was not intentional. That was not necessarily my theme that I was expecting to do going in here. But Truist Field, for those who haven't seen it, one of the best backdrops in minor league baseball. It's right in downtown Charlotte. So the city feels like it's opening up beyond the outfield. I like that it's in the middle of the city. It should be relatively easy to get to for fans. It makes for really nice pictures. It just seems like one of the real gems of minor league baseball, and it's in a very growing city. I mean, like Charlotte comes up when we're talking about potential expansion for Major League Baseball. Who knows what that means exactly for the Knights or like what it means for that stadium, but it's in a really good market. It's in a really good spot in that market. So Truist Field and its city backdrop is my stadium pick.
Yeah, another gorgeous one.
Yeah, very good selection.
Ben, now you have 2 picks.
Oh, I have 2. All right. Well, because Tyler took Durham, arguably the most recognizable minor league franchise out there.
I took Durham.
Oh, yes, and Sam took Durham.
Don't be just giving Tyler.
Sorry, I associate Tyler with better taste, so I put that in there.
Yeah, take that, Dykstra.
I deserve that.
Since Sam, who does have very good taste on his own, picked Durham, I'm going to go with, I think, the team that rivals them for just big picture name recognition and a name I've always loved in a city I've always enjoyed visiting, the Toledo Mud Hens.
That's a good one. That was going to be my second pick too.
Yeah, and just like the movie Bull Durham took the Durham Bulls into an increased level of prominence, on that level and maybe more a decade earlier, that happened for Toledo with Toledo native Jamie Farr as Corporal Klinger, always representing the Mud Hens on episodes of MASH wearing their hats. So that became an internationally recognized team through Toledo native Jamie Farr. So I've always liked that connection. As we talked about that a few weeks ago on the podcast, Jamie Farr is turning 90 this season, and he's celebrating his 90th birthday at the ballpark, Fifth Third Field in Toledo. A great ballpark, which I'm now sad is off the list because I had to choose the Toledo Mud Hens name. And then I get to pick again. Okay. I'm going to go into Sam Dykstra territory. I mean, he's a Massachusetts native.
I was like, you already took your prospect. You can't.
Yeah,
you can't be
true,
taking
true. A different type of Sam Dykstra territory.
Yeah.
The state of Massachusetts and the heart of Massachusetts, in its center is, of course, Worcester. I'm going to go with their mascot, Smiley.
Oh, man.
That iconic yellow smiley face. I forget his name, but the man who designed that did so in Worcester. It's part of the city's
Forrest Gump.
iconography.
Forrest Gump, yeah.
And that is such an interesting mascot. He is a big round Smiley is a big round yellow smiley face. So just I love the story behind it and just how unique he is as a mascot. And as a kid, I don't know if you guys read these. You remember there was all those that book series that was like Mr. Whatever, and it was all different emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Smiley reminds me of Mr. Happy from those kids' books. So I always think, hey, it's Mr. Happy. And he's Smiley. I mean, he is Mr. Happy, not officially. But anyway, Smiley. Worcester.
Smiley's good, especially for this draft, because Smiley can be used everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if we were to take Wooly Bull but not have him with the Durham Bulls, it might not be a great fit. Smiley's going to work in any ballpark with any team. So now Smiley being representative of the Toledo Mud Hens, it still works.
That's true.
You can have a happy time at the ballpark.
That's true.
All right, so back to me. I'm going to take the number 1 overall prospect in baseball. I'm going to take Jackson Holliday.
What? I could have picked him.
You could have picked him.
Man,
Yes.
I forgot.
You went with the 2023 number 1 overall pick for your number 1 overall pick. I'm going with the 2022 number 1 overall pick. He's starting out in Norfolk. I think that was a surprise to a lot of people. It seemed like he was running away with the second base job for Baltimore, and they decided to go a different direction. Sending him back to Norfolk. Didn't play a ton at AAA last year. Was a late season call up. That was his 4th level of 2023. Jackson Holiday obviously can hit really well. He's got a plus hit tool. The power is something he is adding to his game. They're giving him more of second base because they want Gunnar Henderson to be their shortstop of the future. And why not? He's the reigning AL Rookie of the Year. So there's some sliding pieces there. They want him playing every day. I get it. But they set out to have a left-handed hitting second baseman, and they have the best prospect in baseball fitting that description. So fully expect Jackson Holiday to hit the ground running in his return to the Tides this season. He gives us a real gem of a prospect to focus on, bring people in to Truist Field. So I'm sticking again with the Eastern Seaboard, and I'm not trying to do East Coast bias here. I think I'm just going for the right picks at the right time. But yeah, Jackson Holiday as my top prospect. We're going to get a lot of people and a lot of attention in 2024 with that pick.
Okay.
Back to you for 2, Tyler.
I mean, now that prospects are off the board, I'm going to leave that for a little while later on, because this is, we're all about fun, affordable family entertainment here in minor league baseball. So yes, the talent will bring people in, but like, this is Southwest University Park. Do we need talent? Do we need players? Are we bringing people in? No, we got the best ballpark in AAA. So I'm going to leave that one aside. I did make a list of the teams that are still available for us. So I feel as though after essentially 2.5 rounds, we should list the teams that are eliminated. So teams that are unable to be picked now: Indianapolis, Durham, Albuquerque, Toledo, Charlotte, El Paso, Worcester, and Norfolk, which leaves us with quite a large swath of things to pick. I have picked my mascot, and I have picked my ballpark, which leaves me with some big choices here. Identity and alternate identity. And I think I'm going to go with, this is an identity that to me is not, it's not a wild one in any way. It's not a super, wacky, out there creative identity in terms of just its name. But I think the Nashville Sounds identity package, and maybe it's because I think I've written like 8 stories over the years about the Nashville Sounds, like various redesigns and stuff. I just love their current look. I think they do such a good job. They've made it feel so big league. And I know, of course, Nashville is, one of those cities that's kind of aiming to eventually be a big league city. But I just love the Sounds, their visual package. The fact they went with the local group to design it, how they tie it into the music industry, all of that. So I'm going with Nashville for my regular team identity. And then, and I know that this will shock both of you, I'm going to take the Omaha Runzas as my alternate identity. Because now that I'm wearing the hat, since I'm wearing the hat, I can't not do it. And it's not even 11 o'clock in the morning. I would murder a Runza right now. I might drive up to Loveland. There's one like 40 minutes away from Denver. I might go to Loveland and get a Runza today just to celebrate AAA opening day coming up tomorrow.
Now, would that be an actual fast food location, like the franchise
Yes.
Runza?
Yes.
Runs of the food and runs of the franchise, and runs of the franchise, as we talked about last week. You can also get
you can get chili and a cinnamon roll. I think the only location in Colorado is up to, actually apparently there are 2 up north of Denver. There's one in Loveland and there's one there's one in Longmont. Since when? That's way closer. Maybe I'll go there. But yeah, maybe I'll do that today. Maybe I'll make the trek to go snag a Runza for myself. I probably won't, let's be honest. But just in honor of this draft and tomorrow, maybe I'll go drive 40 minutes to eat a bread pocket packed with beef and cabbage and cheese and spices. They do have very good crinkle cut fries.
Our main image for the podcast today now has to be just you eating a Runza. And
It's me shoveling a Runza into my face. Yeah. And not even like in a setting. It's just me sitting in my car like a weirdo on YouTube.
I think that's how we drive hits to this show. I see nothing wrong with this.
To the good folks at Runza, if you want to sponsor this podcast, we will gladly take some free Runza money. Not even actual money, just like free Runzas. And especially because Ben and Sam are nowhere near a Runza location, I'll take all of it. That sounds great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I see how this is.
Okay, back to one Samuel C. Dykstra.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I have Durham Bulls as my main identity, the Charlotte Ballpark, and Jackson Holiday as my top prospect. So I have alternate identity and mascot left. Whew. This one's tough because there's two I'm kind of thinking through right now. I kind of want to be myself. This is one of my favorite ones. I actually own a hat of this. I should have brought it in today. Like Tyler, I'm gonna go with the Iowa caucuses as my other one.
That is a good Sam choice. I like it.
I knew Sam was going to go with that, and I was thinking about doing it just, because spite is a great.
Yeah, the Iowa caucuses, which I initially put in as the Iowa primaries. I will take the error on that for some reason. I don't know why I was getting them mixed up with New Hampshire, but the Iowa caucuses celebrating democracy, celebrating something local, something that is special to the region, something they are certainly known for. The fact that the team name is the Iowa Cubs, like you already have Iowa in the name. Everybody talks about the Iowa caucuses every 4 years. Let's just get that in there. The look is really good. If you haven't seen the logo, it's essentially a patriotic version of the state of Iowa. So it's just something that works really well. Is it going to work in the middle of Charlotte? I don't know, but hey, democracy, we should be celebrating democracy everywhere in all its forms. So if we're celebrating what they do in Iowa in the middle of North Carolina, that's totally fine by me. So Iowa caucuses is my alternate identity.
I like it.
And I'll note, Sam and I talked about this before we did before we went quote unquote on air today. We were talking about alternate identity and did come to the conclusion that it should be an alternate identity that will be on the field in 2024. We're not going through, archival stuff. So there's obviously some good stuff that teams have done in the past that is not going to work for this purpose because they're not doing it in 2024.
They haven't announced it yet.
Or they haven't announced it yet. So I tried to double check all these against my master promo spreadsheet and make sure it is something on the field for 2024 and not just something that we remember liking from 6 years ago or something like that. And it's my pick now.
It is your pick. Your last two picks, Ben.
Last two. Oh man, I got them back to back. Well, Sam picked the best city view in minor league baseball with with Charlotte, Truist Field, that beautiful uptown Charlotte skyline. I'm gonna pick a view too and give it some natural beauty. And this is the last season at this ballpark, Smith's Ballpark in Salt Lake, home of the Bees. The Wasatch Mountains are just gorgeous backdrop of that, just encompassing the entire, just moving from the entire ballpark view from left field to right field, just this huge mountain range in the background. And the Ogden Raptors have that as well in the Pioneer League. I was lucky to visit there when they were still affiliated a few years back. But that is just one of the best ballpark views you can get and enjoy it now because the team is scheduled to move into a new ballpark in 2025. I don't know what the view will be there. It is in a planned community, some like 15 miles out of the city proper. I'm hoping for a mountain view, but I would love to say goodbye to Smith's Ballpark Mountain View that the Bees will have this year for the final time.
Maybe I'll make a trip to Salt Lake this year. I've never been there for a baseball game, and I have always wanted to go to check out Smith's Ballpark. It does look very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely worth visiting. The difficulty of it from a minor league ballpark road trip perspective is there's not too many other teams.
Yeah, it's kind of on an island out there.
Yeah, they're on a desert or an island or whatever you want to call it. And now my last pick. That's going to be alternate identity.
It's kind of amazing. Can I just say this? That Ben's final two picks were ballpark and identity.
Ben he flipped the script in his draft war room.
I think that's just because of your depth of knowledge of these things. Like you could let us pick the other ones and you're just going to snipe us in the other direction.
That's true.
I know more about this stuff than you guys do.
Ben's got many cards up the sleeve.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
Wouldn't it be ironic right now if you went for the Reno Aces? Because I just said cards up the sleeve. Although I guess you picked your normal identity.
Yeah, Reno's off the table for me. So alternate identity, Sam. Can you pull up that sheet again? Just so I can give it one more second before I make my final choice. And I'm going to go with, It's just a great organization, and again, a food identity that I really like the story behind, the Rochester plates. Um, a plate is of course a garbage plate at a place called, was it Nick Tahoe's, I believe is the name. I ate there a couple years ago. Originated it. Now they're all around Rochester, these garbage plates. It's just anything you want, not anything you want, but a customizable mix of stuff on a plate. Um, some mac and cheese in a lot of cases, potatoes in most cases, some chopped up hot dogs, hamburger meat sauce. It's a late night, unhealthy, but very fun snack. And the Rochester plates have been a long running alternate identity there in Rochester for a long time. And that's just a great organization across the board. And I'm glad I've been able to pick them and represent them through the Rochester plates.
I did learn recently, somebody posted on, I think it was a Denver subreddit, that there is a place somewhere in the Denver area that serves garbage plates, which I really I got to go sample somehow. I don't know, it's not going to be authentic, obviously, but I do want to try it. Or
Yeah,
I could just throw a bunch of nonsense onto a plate at my house.
Yeah, I mean, this is something you could do at home.
That's true. It is true.
You could definitely do it at home, but hey, you're talking about visiting, Runzas in Colorado.
Yeah.
You might as well get a garbage plate in Colorado. I
mean,
take what you've got available, even if it's not really a local specialty. At least these Colorado establishments are bringing local specialties to your door.
I'm looking up how far away this Runza in Longmont is. Anyways.
Yeah, my final pick is Mascot. Mascot is the only team I have left. So I am going to go with the round mound of red, the Sasquatch of the Sierra Mountains, Archie of the Reno Aces.
Are those actually Archie's nicknames?
It's on his life story page as I'm looking at it.
The round mound of red.
I wish I came up with that myself.
I was going to be really impressed.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. Archie, his vitals are listed at 6'4". His weight is listed at how rude. So don't ask Archie how much he weighs.
That is what I say to people when they ask my weight.
Yeah. He's a switch hitter, switch thrower, birthplace Reno, Nevada, of course, excuse me. But yeah, Archie, if anybody hasn't seen him, he's basically just a big red monster, but has a gigantic smile, tongues flapping out in the breeze there. Again, somebody who could work anywhere. Like he works really well with the Aces. I'm not trying to move him out. Like I said, his birthplace is Reno. I
don't want to take him away from his home.
Yeah. But this adds a little bit of diversity to my team. I've been slowly moving west. We got Durham, Charlotte, Norfolk, Iowa. Now we get a PCL team with Reno. Archie, welcome to the team.
Yeah, an interesting thing about Archie is the first time I visited Reno, which was 2012 or something, a long time ago, Archie talked. He legit talked. He didn't just make little noises. You could have a conversation with him. And that was the first talking mascot I ever met. The only other one was Roscoe with the Princeton Rays.
The wrestler.
The talking rooster, who also moonlighted on the side in the local West Virginia professional wrestling circuit. But Archie spoke, and I thought that was a little weird, but definitely interesting. And I enjoyed doing an interview with a mascot. And then I don't know when it was, but sometime in the next 3 or 4 years, he just lost his gift of speech. And if you meet Archie now, he no longer can speak, even though his mouth is perpetually open and his gigantic tongue is visible to all. You will not hear any vocalizations from the round mound of red, the Sasquatch of the Sierras, Archie with the Reno Aces.
There are a whole lot of people who wish that I was the same way. Like his big dumb smile is still there and his tongue's hanging out of his head, but he can't talk. There are a whole lot of people who are like, I could go for that with Tyler Mont.
A whole lot of people,
including 2/3 of this podcast.
What, yourself and Ben? I would never say such a thing. One thing I wanted to bring up though, Mr. Baseball is not eligible to be picked for mascot, right?
No, he's not a mascot.
He's not a mascot, but he's like a ballpark feature, I guess, which Reno ballpark can't be chosen. Yeah. I loved Mr. Baseball. I thought about trying to sneak him in there, but Archie's cool on his own. So like no slight to Archie by any
Yeah,
means.
Mr. Baseball is a giant talking baseball that emerges from behind the outfield fence to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and a really unique thing in Reno.
We may have said this before on the podcast, but I love when you search Reno Mr. Baseball. The first Google hit is a story from the Reno Gazette Journal with the headline, "Does Reno Aces Mr. Baseball have an entire body or what?"
I think we read that story once on the podcast.
I think we did. But it's a good callback. It's
one of my
story
favorite
from
things
2022.
About Mr. Baseball is that every time the the Oklahoma City Baseball Club, as they are now known, is in Reno, if you follow Alex Friedman, our good friend on Instagram, he just posts pictures of Mr. Baseball popping up from behind the batter's eye and is like, I hate this thing. It cracks me up every time. He's the best, man. I love that guy. All right, so it's last pick for me, correct?
Last pick.
All right, I'm gonna go with one of our remaining franchises, and a guy who I feel like has long been a show before the show favorite, which is wild to me because he's 21 years old. But I'm going with Ricky Tiedemann. Of the now Buffalo Bisons, and probably very soon of the Toronto Blue Jays. Ricky Tiedemann is he's a star, man. I love Ricky Tiedemann. He's very fun to watch. One thing about Ricky Tiedemann that I learned recently, and I will update you soon as to whether or not this has changed for 2024. They say his name wrong on MLB The Show. Boog Shambi says Tideman when he comes into the game, which is very strange. Or at least in my road to the show, that's they pronounce his name wrong, which I find very odd.
I think you got a defective copy.
Yeah, that could be. But anyway, I love Ricky Tiedemann, and not just because we talked to another Tiedemann last week and Emma Tiedemann, but Ricky Tiedemann, a legend and a guy who, I'm sure he's going to be in Toronto in no time. Last year, of course, he was limited just 15 appearances at 4 different levels. He pitched at rookie ball, A ball, AA, AAA on the road back from injury. But yeah, he's going to be so much fun to watch. The 2021 third round pick out of Golden West College by the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Tiedemann, a lot of people thought there was a chance that he could break camp with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays rotation has had some issues. I've even heard him, or I've read him talking about this, and he said, like, I think it's best for me to open in the minors and slowly build up innings. He wants to be pitching in August and September. He doesn't want to be pitching in the big leagues now and kind of, using up, not bullets, but like he's going to be a little bit on an innings cap because you mentioned those injuries from last year, Tyler. He made up for some of the lost time in the Arizona Fall League where he was the pitcher of the year. But the fastball, slider, changeup, all 3 of those pitches are going to play in the major leagues immediately. It's just how often are the Jays going to go to him? Do they bring him up as maybe like a long reliever, somebody who pitches after an opener, again, to allow him to only go 3-4 innings per appearance to start? So he is still strong come August and September. We'll see. But he's going to be a big piece of the puzzle this year for Toronto. And obviously they have World Series aspirations, as they should, given the major league core that they have.
Yeah. And a very fun group to watch. And man, that's it. That's it, right? There's
still half a AAA out there. We could do this entire thing again and still have teams that have not been represented, which I think speaks. I mean, just looking at the teams we didn't pick, there's just so much great stuff to go on there. But that's a tough thing about a draft. There's winners and losers.
I don't think there's any losers here. It's just like
we're all winners.
Yeah, we're all winners.
Is what we're saying.
Now I will say this, guys. I brought this up in our initial email, but I haven't said it yet on the podcast. We can allow for trades.
Oh.
Does anybody want to make a trade or start an offer on a trade?
But wait, we have to still keep one from every category?
Yeah.
Can't have like an alternate ballpark. Like, all right, I'm going to give you Ricky Tiedemann, but I also want the DBAP.
Yeah, no.
So we got to swap like 1 for 1. Unless we do like a very complicated 3-way
2 for 2
trade, which I can't do because my brain isn't smart.
We could do 2 for 2. Yeah, we can't do 3. We could do a 3-way trade, but that would be very complicated.
Yeah, complicated.
Is there anything anybody wants to at least say, like, hey, I want to take this from you?
I like my team. I mean, I would, since I did not pick Archie and I really should have, I would trade my whole team just for Archie, honestly. But
Do you want to swap Smiley for Archie?
yeah, I would swap Smiley for Archie, but why would Tyler or why would Sam do that? I mean, why would you do that?
I mean,
He's
I
the
like
home
Smiley.
state pick for Sam.
It
It
is
is
home state
it is
pick.
my home state pick.
Bringing the home guy back. Well, I guess you'd be bringing him to Charlotte, so that doesn't really work. But
Yeah.
still.
And I like Tyler, I have a Smiley story, which is when I brought my nephew to Worcester for his first minor league baseball game.
Your nephew was like, he smells, and he grunted at me.
No. He was in that apprehensive age of like, I see the mascot, I like the mascot. I'm gonna yell at the mascot from our seat. Hi,
But
Smiley.
do I want to say hi to the mascot?
And I was like, we
Yeah.
can go say hi to him. Like, I can get you to Smiley. He's like, no, I'm
He's
good
like,
here. But he
nah,
kept
I'm all right.
yelling. Yeah. I eventually got him. We went to get ice cream around the 6th inning or so. And it was actually, they were honoring Pawtucket that day. So they had paws and socks in the ballpark as well. And we were walking past Paws, the former Pawtucket Red Sox mascot. And Liam, my nephew, was like, again, sort of apprehensive. I'm like, no, just go give him a high five. And so he did. And then he got all excited, but he like ran away with his excitement. So I do have
That was one of my favorite Sam Instagram posts ever, by the way, was the photos from that day.
Oh yeah. He wore a Weepa's Copa identity, which like he chose. I did not guide him towards the Copa identity. He's like,
look
I
at
like
this
to look at
firework. It's smiling. I gotta get
Totally.
this shirt.
100%. It was exactly what you want if you're a minor league baseball team of like, this kid's now hooked. He's been to games since without me, with his mother and father, and his whole family. And I've been very jealous every time. So I do have a Smiley. I will say I do like the idea that now my team goes across the country. I think just sticking in the International League isn't the most representative team I will have. So as much as I would like to have Smiley, as much as I would like to add him to the team, I'm going to stick with Archie.
That's fair.
Tyler, anything you're eyeing, or
No,
we don't have to. I mean, I do like the way these teams are
yeah,
worked
I
out.
mean, the one thing that I would really love is the DBAP. But I have to say that the thing I love, the ballpark that I love next is probably the one that I ended up with, which is well, can't say that I love it because I've never been there, but the one that I would probably choose next is El Paso. So I'm just sticking with it.
All right.
I also I would have been very happy to get the home of the Albuquerque Isotopes as well. But
yeah, it's a great ballpark.
Great
I still
ballpark,
call it
too.
Isotopes Park. It now has a credit union.
Yeah, something credit union.
One thing that I will say that's very interesting to me, all three of our ballparks extremely hitter friendly.
That is true. That is true.
Tyler,
They like
you're-
offense.
Yeah, El Paso, Salt Lake playing in the elevation. Charlotte is like the most hitter friendly in the International League, for reasons that don't have to do with elevation necessarily. So yeah, we're just gonna have a lot of offense across our parks, which I'm all for. You know,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I think that sounds like a fantastic way to
Eh,
kick off a baseball
but
season.
both of you guys also drafted pitchers, so you're kind of counteracting that on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I want them
True.
to struggle. I mean, not struggle overall, but to have to really bear down in these hitter-friendly environments.
Right.
That's how you show your mettle.
And Paul Skeens, if you want to pitch in Pittsburgh, you got to pitch first in Salt Lake.
Yeah, exactly. And then Pittsburgh will seem easy.
Right.
After Salt Lake.
They're not wrong.
All right. We want to run through the teams again.
Yes, I
Ben,
think we
just
should.
say what your team is.
My team. Toledo Mudhens with an alternate identity of Rochester Plates playing in Salt Lake's Smith's Ballpark with Worcester's Smiley as the mascot and Paul Skeens towing the rubber with Indianapolis.
All right. So my main identity is the Durham Bulls. We will be playing in Charlotte's Truist Field. We will have an alternate identity of the Iowa Caucuses. Archie, Reno's mascot, will be patrolling the grounds for us. What was his name again? Sorry. The round mound of red. I love it. And then batting, I'm going to say he's batting third for us. Jackson Holiday will be anchoring our batting order. Tyler, run down your team real quick.
My team, the Nashville Sounds, with an alternate identity of the Omaha Runzas, playing at the home of the El Paso Chihuahua, Southwest University Park, with Orbit, the mascot of the Albuquerque Isotopes, and Ricky Tiedemann towing the rubber in El Paso for the Nashville Sounds or the Omaha Runzas, hanging out with Orbit while, being a Blue Jays prospect. It's all very confusing. I like these groups though. I would attend any game for any of these teams. I think
This really does feel very representative, I got to say, of the AAA experience. We've got prospects who are basically banging down the door to the majors, but should be, I don't want to say should be, but easily could have all-star upside. Ballparks that are in great locations in great cities, team names that are fun, but in some ways traditional for AAA. We're not completely out there, but we're definitely, there's still quality minor league names, alternate identities that speak to the local flavor, especially in the case of the Runzas and the Plates. I think these came together really well.
I like it, fellas. All right, we're going to step aside for a timeout. We'll bring it on back and chat with Ben about some of the upcoming stuff in the starting weeks of the minor league baseball season. And that's coming up after a timeout on this week's episode of The Show Before the Show. Well, as the minor league baseball season gets underway across the AAA landscape, coming up tomorrow, March 29th, by the way, April 5th, the kickoff to the season elsewhere in minor league baseball. But we've got a whole bunch of alternate identities to discuss as we get set to head into the 2024 campaign. And one of them, Ben, is a minor league baseball wide alternate identity, which is named after a town in Sweden, Malmö, which is a place that I have, weirdly enough, been. It's beautiful. But tell us about the Malmö Oat Milkers, Ben.
Yeah, you've been to? Is it Malmö?
It's Malmö, as
Malmö.
I understand, or at least as I understood it. Somewhere around here, I still have a Malmö FC T-shirt, which is or I guess it's Malmö FF is their football foreigning. Anyway, that's their soccer team. But it's right across the water from Copenhagen, where I visited a couple times in Denmark. I have a friend who lives in Copenhagen. So I've been to Malmö. It's awesome. Malmö is beautiful. But it's, that's the extent of my knowledge about it. It's just that it's very pretty and easy to get to from Copenhagen.
Yeah, well, that's more about Malmö than most of us know. It is also the headquarters of Oatly, the oat milk company, and this is a minor league baseball first. There's now an industry-wide marketing campaign based on an alternate identity, the Malmö Oat Milkers. And every team in minor league baseball will play one game this season as the Oat Milkers, starting in April. I forget which team kicks it off, and then just throughout
the Albuquerque Isotopes, as a matter of fact.
Albuquerque Isotopes. Maybe
against
they just do it
Sugarland.
alphabetical. Yeah. Maybe they're just moving alphabetically down the lineup. But every team, starting with Albuquerque versus Sugarland, and then all throughout the season, more often than not, if you looked at the minor league landscape each day throughout the season, you'll probably find a team playing as the Oat Milkers. So it's a new concept. We always talk about how these alternate identities are a way to learn more about the team and the region, and that is still the case with alternate identities as a basic concept. But this is a national alternate identity tied into a corporate sponsorship, and it's the Oat Milkers. So get ready to see some Malmö Oat Milkers on the field at a minor league ballpark near you. I mean, whatever the nearest minor league ballpark is, you will see a game.
It will happen at least once. And Ben, like you were mentioning there, normally we were talking about alternate identities. They have a little bit of local flavor. We're only a week away from AA, High A, and Single A starting. So more alternate identities are coming out. I know you wrote about a few of them in the newsletter this week. What are some other ones we should keep an eye out on?
Yeah, I've got a 5 featured in the Ben's Biz Beat newsletter. Please make sure to subscribe and love the Ben's Biz Beat. And then this will be a standalone MILB.com story on Friday, because obviously there's been a lot going on in this lead up to the season, and I wasn't able to give these as much attention as I would have liked. but wrote up brief recaps of 5 recently released alternate identities, starting with the Winston-Salem Hype Hens. Now, the Winston-Salem dash played as the hyphens last year, as we've talked about, a reference to the fact that the dash that gives the team its name, Winston-Salem dash, that's a reference to the punctuation mark between Winston and Salem. That's actually a hyphen. So they actually played a game as the hyphens. Now they're the Hype Hens. And the funny thing is that they don't even mention the similarity to hyphens in their press release, but obviously they were going for something similar to hyphens with Hype Hens. And it's a dancing chicken kind of logo. But here's the thing about this is the team, the Dash, say it is a, quote, nod to the success of the recent Foul Ball, a dance party for chickens that was hosted on field at Truist Stadium. This is Truist Stadium in Winston-Salem, not to be confused with Truist Field in Charlotte. But I was like, what? I never heard of a dance party for chickens. Like, this is my wheelhouse, right? I mean, I feel like I was really slacking on the job. But apparently there was a foul ball, FOWL ball at foul.
Yeah.
There's a foul ball at the ballpark. It had dancing chickens. It was so successful, apparently, that now they'll play as the Hype Hens in Winston-Salem on May 10th. And there will also be live chickens at the ballpark all season long. They're debuting their very own chicken coop for fans to interact with. The coop will house 5 chickens, one of which fans will have the chance to name via social media. So there you have it, the Hype Hens. In the same alternate identity family, we had the Biloxi Shuckers. They debuted their first ever alternate identity earlier this offseason with the King Cakes. Now they have the Beach Chickens, and that is another name for a seagull. And their mascot, Schooner, is a seagull. So they're celebrating beach chickens at the ballpark on multiple occasions this season. And there's a whole new beach area in right field at the ballpark at MGM Park in Biloxi. So they're really going hard on that beach theme. So we have the Hype Hens. We have the Beach Chickens. We've also got the Lehigh Valley Cats. Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs have probably done more alternate identities through the years than any other team. They've done some based on various breeds of dogs through the years. But they just said, you know what? We've never done cats. So it's just the Lehigh Valley Cats on April 27th, Catter Day at the ballpark. You can bring your cat to the game if you so desire. And there will be local cat rescue organizations in attendance, but they will play as the Cats. And there's obviously a feline logo there. Kurt Landis, the team's GM and president, he always puts in puns in the Lehigh Valley press releases, and he said it was a catastrophe that needed fixed, that they had never honored cats at the ballpark before. And this was the perfect solution. So that's an actual quote in an actual press release.
I didn't know you were ghostwriting for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
It really seems like it. Whenever a GM has a quote like that, I always feel like there should be an actual recording of the person actually saying that. Did you really say those words out loud, Kurt?
Just like a link to an audio file.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. A new food identity, the Columbia Fireflies will be the Grits on 6 occasions this season. The logo is like an upside down baseball hat serving as a bowl for the Grits, holding a spoon as a baseball bat, like a real like kind of bright orange color scheme. The press release had all kinds of Grits facts and South Carolina's love for grits, and the fact that one of the buildings in the Columbia skyline is a factory that started out producing grits and I think still does. Anyway, they love their grits in Columbia, South Carolina, and they're going to play as the Grits on 6 occasions in 2024, kicking off on April 26th. Well, they'll give away a grits figurine featuring a bobble spoon. Don't think we've seen any bobble spoons in the landscape before. And finally, I like this one. I mean, I like them all, of course, but the Chattanooga Lookouts doing their first ever alternate identity. They're going to be the Chattanooga Wreckers. Wreckers, Wreckers. And that is because Chattanooga is a quote unquote birthplace of towing. A man named Ernest Holmes invented the tow hitch in Chattanooga. And today the city is home to Miller Industries, which bills itself as the world's largest manufacturer of towing and recovery equipment. And in Chattanooga, I know they have a good aquarium. I'm sure they have a lot of other interesting tourist cultural attractions. So I want to visit this place next time I go to Chattanooga. The International Towing and Recovery Museum is located there. So Chattanooga, the birthplace of towing. Who knew? I certainly didn't, but they're playing as the Wreckers on 6 occasions. I guess because a tow truck would haul away a wrecked car, or do they wreck the cars themselves? But it's a vintage automobile of the era from when Ernest Holmes invented that tow hitch, and it's a vintage tow truck on the logo, orange, very retro looking, and I think that's a pretty cool one. So those are 5 new alternate identities here on the cusp of the season, and there'll be teams that release alternate identities during the season as well. So it has not stopped, but it is slowing down, and it's a lot to keep track of. I do my best.
We should say too, at the end of the hitch is a baseball.
Yes, there is a hitch at the end of the baseball, or at the end of the. It's a baseball at the end of the hitch.
Baseball at the end of the hitch.
It's tough to talk about things sometimes, but that's a cool logo. I like those.
That is a very good logo. I really do like that logo.
It has a real throwback feel to it.
Yeah,
in some ways. Like you could tell me
terrific.
Josh Jackson's Goes to the Minors, that the Chattanooga Wreckers existed in the 1950s, and I would believe you. I'm honestly astonished that it's taken Chattanooga this long, but this is a great start for a first alternate identity.
Yeah, I think so, and they're excited about it to finally get on board the alternate identity train, and
which should be their next one, obviously, the Chattanooga Choo Choos. Pardon me, boy.
Yeah. You know what? I think they actually...
No, keep singing, Tyler. I don't know how that song goes.
You both blankly stared at me like, what is this old man talking about?
No, it's because your reference was so sharp. It took my lesser brain a second to figure it out. Like they jumped on the train, the choo-choos. Yeah, it all makes sense. Now.
Records is very good. I'm fascinated to know what is in the International Towing Museum. Now it's like an upset. I need to know what. I'm assuming it's just a lot of different tow trucks, but like, are there would I leave the International Towing Museum being like, man, I never knew towing was so interesting?
I mean, probably. Isn't that the point of a museum? Is like something you never really thought of, and then you go and you're like, wow, this is pretty amazing. I love obscure museums of that nature because it just, you think, wow, there's a museum for that, and then when you go, you learn things. So here's to obscure museums.
I hope there's a lot of interactive exhibits. Like you get to drive a very controlled environment, right? Like, but I don't know, a towing simulator of some sort.
Yeah, I wonder if they host weddings there. Because it'd be a great place to get hitched. Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering what was coming with that. Track 29. How long to give me a sign? Okay, let's segue into we mentioned Ricky Tiedemann. We also mentioned Emma Tiedemann, who joined the show last week along with her husband and baby. And not only was that interview phenomenal, and you can catch it on last week's episode if you did not already, we also have a story on the site now, correct?
Yeah, I used the basis of our conversation for a story that is on MILB/MLB.com. So if you missed our interview last week with Emma Tiedemann, broadcaster for the Portland Sea Dogs, who gave birth to her daughter Lucy at the end of February, her husband Jesse Scaglione also works for the Sea Dogs. It's a really interesting story of how Emma navigated her pregnancy last year and how she and Jesse will now navigate the 2024 season, with both of them working in minor league baseball and having a newborn daughter. So there's a lot going on there. Listen to last week's episode if you haven't had the chance, or you can just read the article because there's a lot of, I think I did a pretty good job of telling the story, and there's a lot of great quotes to draw from, such as Emma's quote that, in true minor league fashion, I did find out that I was pregnant in Manchester, New Hampshire. I just thought that was
on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, on 4th of July weekend. I mean, come on. So
one of my favorite moments of that entire interview, and there were a lot of them.
Yeah, mine too. So there's a lot there. So check out the story. Listen to the interview from last week if you have not. But of course, everyone listening to the podcast listens to each episode as soon as it comes out, and then can't wait for the next one. So you already heard it.
I was gonna say, do both. Like give us a download and give Ben's story a read. Give that a click. Not to advertise us too heavy, but it's the perfect matchup, I think, of Emma, obviously in her role as a broadcaster, is a terrific storyteller, and nobody can tell her story better than her. But then to hand off her story to you, Ben, another great minor league storyteller. It's just a great combination of things. So it works both in the written word form and in the audio form.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. We don't say nice things to each other very much.
I feel like I was especially mean this week, so I wanted to end on a better note.
The thing about Sam Dykstra, the sweetest human being that I know, is that he says like one mean thing, and then he's like, I was too mean. He's the best.
The thing is, all the mean
None of
things I
that was
say
even-
are on this show. That's the problem, is that I say
Exactly. And none of them are undeserved. It's because Ben and I do nothing but, slag you off behind your back when you're down in Florida and we're making up, nonsense about you. Not the thing about Mickey Mouse and Times Square. That was all real.
Yeah, that
But,
was a token.
other stuff.
yeah, just the middle initial. That's the only lie that's ever been told.
All right, we're going to step aside for a timeout. Sam and I will be talking some on-field stuff with top prospects heading into the 2024 season. Josh Jackson will stop by with Ghost of the Miners, and then we're back to wrap it up. Well, all kinds of fun to kick off the minor league baseball season happens in the ballparks and front offices and the team stores elsewhere. But of course, the thing that we're all here for is what's going on the field. And as we kick off this 2024 minor league baseball season, 18 of MLB's top 100 prospects will begin the year at the AAA level in minor league baseball, including, of course, the three dudes who we selected in our draft. Two of them, American League East products, and Jackson Holliday, Major League Baseball's #1 overall prospect, and Ricky Tiedemann, MLB's number 29, along with Paul Skeens, who is MLB's #2 overall prospect, and a guy who
Number three,
rather, sorry.
Number 3.
My biggest apologies to MLB's actual #2 overall prospect, who I hope will not come at me to try to beat me up because I'm not Sam Dykstra, and that's Jackson Churio. But yeah, I mean, it's not. Stop me if this is overstating. It's not often that nearly a fifth of the top 100 prospects in baseball are at the AAA level to start a season, because it feels like teams have gotten so aggressive with pushing prospects, getting them on opening day rosters, or holding guys in reserve at AA to test them there before maybe speeding them through AAA on the way to the big leagues. Feels like 18 is a pretty high number to kick off a season at the AAA level. Am I off base with that?
Well, 18, I will say, is just like 18 of the 30 have top 100 prospects. 18 of the 30 farm systems have. So the number might actually be higher than that. I haven't actually tabulated it off the top of my head, but that only speaks more to your point, Tyler. The only thing I'll say about that, I'll say a few things, but the one thing I want to highlight is that it says something about prospect evaluation generally, in that you are going to see more upper level guys on top 100 lists because they've proven themselves, right? They've shown that they can transition to pro ball at the single A, high A, even AA levels. It's a big reason why Jackson Holliday is the #1 overall prospect, is because we saw him climb 4 levels, hit everywhere he played. That's why we feel comfortable putting him at #1. Jackson Churio, why he's #2 is because, he really transitioned well to AA last year. It took some time to figure out that level, but clearly went past the level in the second half and earned himself an extension because of what he showed at the upper levels at such a young age. So the fact that there are a lot of top 100 prospects on AAA rosters isn't a huge shock, but I think the more interesting thing for me is the fact that somebody like a Jackson Holliday isn't opening up the year in the majors. It seemed like last year there was a real shift because of prospect promotion incentives. Right. If a guy's on your opening day roster and he's on multiple top 100 lists, you're eligible to get an extra draft pick if he wins Rookie of the Year or if he wins MVP while he's still arbitration eligible. And I thought that was really going to push the Orioles to include Jackson Holliday. Now, the difference between him and Gunnar Henderson last year, who did earn the O's an extra pick, was that Gunnar Henderson had major league experience. He got called up the previous fall, so he had already experienced the major league level. Jackson Holliday hasn't got that call yet. And I think based on the way they treated him this spring, they really wanted him to give them no doubt about pushing him to the majors. And the fact that there might be just a little bit of doubt, they want him to prove himself at Norfolk. Only got a handful of games there last year. It's not the end of the world. 5 years ago, this would not be a big shocking decision. The fact that the PPI exists, I think, does make it a little bit more of an interesting call. But then you look at somebody like Junior Caminero, who didn't get drafted earlier, only because I took the Durham Bulls in the first round. Otherwise, he would be an easy pick for one of us as a top prospect. He has nowhere to go. He was on the major league team last year for their postseason run after hitting 31 homers between high A and AA. They skipped him over AAA completely. But then you look at their major league roster, he's a third baseman. I know he's got a little bit of shortstop in him. Shortstop position's more of a question mark for the Rays entering 2024, but he defensively is a third baseman who needs reps at that position. The defense is the biggest question. I love Junior Caminero, and I think he has one of the highest ceilings of any prospect in baseball right now. But if you're the Rays and you're trying to win every day, like they have too many options on the infield. That's a good problem to have, obviously. So sending Caminero to AAA for the first time, letting him get reps there, it was interesting because like I talked to some people with the Rays and they're like, we just want him to see AAA. We want him getting more access to major league ready pitching. And then other people I talked to with the Rays were like, listen, we didn't call him up last year for the heck of it. We thought he could hit major league pitching then. So I fully expect him to take off. He's going to post some really exciting exit velocities. As a reminder for anybody who doesn't know, although I'm sure many people do, we get StatCast data on the public side for AAA. So if Junior Caminero hits a ball 115 miles an hour this weekend, don't be surprised. He is certainly capable of that. And I fully expect him to have some of the best EVs at the AAA level. So I'm excited to see him there. The second there's an injury on the Rays infield, I think they'll move around some guys and make room because his ceiling is too good. But some of the other ones, you talk about somebody pushed aggressively. The White Sox are sending Colson Montgomery to AAA Charlotte. He's number 9 overall on our list. He's the top prospect in the White Sox system. Consistently draws Corey Seager comps. You look at their swings; they're very similar as left-handed hitters, right-handed throwers. Obviously, playing shortstop. He's a big guy. He was the Fall Stars game MVP last year. He was the top prospect in the Arizona Fall League. He missed time with oblique and back issues last year, but hit 8 homers in 64 games, had a 455 OBP. The guy's basically offensively ready. He just hasn't seen AAA yet. Hasn't seen a lot of AA either, but the White Sox know what they have in Colson Montgomery, so keep an eye on him on the Charlotte side. One name who was not going to be opening the year in AAA, unfortunately, is Jordan Lawler. News broke on Wednesday via the Arizona Republic, I believe, had the story first, that he is undergoing right thumb surgery. He's somebody who suffered a torn UCL in his thumb. That's going to set him back a few weeks, if not months. Jordan Lawler is somebody who was on the D-backs postseason roster last year in their run to the World Series. Didn't get a lot of playing time at AAA either. The D-backs were pretty blunt about it at the beginning of spring, saying Geraldo Perdomo is our starting shortstop. That's not going to change. I thought there was a chance that maybe Lawler could have outplayed him in the spring and won that job outright, but they chose to go with the more veteran option, and I certainly understand that. But I really wanted to see Lawler in Reno. We were talking about before some of the most hitter-friendly ballparks in the minors. Reno is certainly a part of that as well. His power has been coming along nicely the last few years. I think he could have hit, I don't want to say like 25 to 30 homers there, because I don't think he would have spent that long of a time to hit that many homers, but he could have put up some really special numbers in Reno. Now that's going to be delayed maybe about 2 months for Jordan Lawler. We'll see what he's like when he comes back. I'm sure he's going to rehab at the lower levels first, but it's going to be a little bit longer than that for Jordan Lawler, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Paul Skeens there. I know we talked about him earlier, his 102-mile-an-hour fastball. Jackson Holiday talked about it looking like 110 coming out of the spring breakout matchup between those two teams. If I had to bet, I thought they were going to send him to Altoona. He just got a little bit of time at Altoona at the end of last year after his strong run at LSU, but they're going to push him out in Indianapolis. He might not even last very long there. If he's throwing like we expect him to, and he's doing that stuff's holding for 4 or 5, 6 innings with Indianapolis, Pittsburgh should look at him and be like, he's major league ready. Why are we wasting his innings in Indy when we could be getting this stuff at the major league level? It's ready to get major league batters out. Once that fastball reaches the majors, it might be the best among major league starters in terms of velocity, outside of somebody like Jacob deGrom, who's obviously injured. So I'm excited that they pushed him out there. But yeah, there'll be tons of guys starting out the year at AAA. We'll be getting more roster assignments beginning of next week for AA, High A, and Single A. Some teams have already announced all of their rosters, and God bless them for that. The Houston Astros and Texas Rangers are like, here's where everybody's going. There might be some changes, but here's where everybody's going to start the year on a full season roster, and I love that. So we'll get more news of that on MLB Pipeline. We'll be doing stories on where everybody's starting, what maybe some of the injuries that are holding guys back. So lots to come in the weeks for now. But for now, AAA level, like you said at the jump there, Tyler, is as loaded as it's ever been.
And we will, of course, talk about AA and the single A levels next week in a little bit more depth as those seasons get closer and closer. Sam, what excites you most about kicking off this 2024 season? I mean, obviously the prospect talent is widespread, and as much of a crowd of players who can make a big impact on the major league level as any year that we've seen. But is there anything else that maybe people are kind of not quite as on the radar with as you might be?
Well, one thing that, and I wrote about this for the site because this is coming out next week. We're doing a story on like what we're most excited about for the season. And I think the thing I'm most excited about is like what is going to be the number one overall prospect debate by midseason. You look at who is atop our list right now. Jackson Holliday, we mentioned, is at AAA. Jackson Chourio is in the majors. By the way, he's going to be the first player born in the year 2004 to play in the major leagues. That's incredible.
Oh.
I know, right? Paul Skeens, who we've talked about, he's at AAA. Junior Cameronero's at AAA. Evan Carter is in the major leagues after playing a role for the World Series champs last year. Wyatt Langford, who we haven't even really talked about because he's opening the year in the majors. Like, that's incredible. He's a 2023 pick, number 4 overall. He's number 6 overall in our top 100. He's going to open the season in the majors. Number 7 is Dylan Cruz, who I expect to open with AA Harrisburg, but I think he's going to be a debut in the first half of the season. The hit tool's too advanced. The power is too good. He's a really good defensive center fielder. So that's our top 7 prospects in the top 100 who have estimated times of arrival of 2024. Once we clear those guys out, who is next? It's Ethan Salas. It's like Walker Jenkins. But I think there's going to be a legit debate amongst that. Like Jackson Holliday is pretty universally the number 1 overall prospect. I know some people out there think it might be Chourio. There are some people who think it's Wyatt Langford, in fact. But it's pretty clear, like across the board, it's Jackson Holliday. I don't think it's going to be as clear when we're having this debate again at midseason. Ethan Salas could do really well. The power could play really well. The defense is always going to be really gifted. That gives him a great floor. But what happens in year 2? The book is out now on Ethan Salas. Like, he's not going to surprise anybody anymore. So what happens then? What happens to a Walker Jenkins who's like just getting his career started, who some people think could be like a 5-tool Mike Trout type, which I know is a crazy comp to throw on him. I'm not going to say that, but he has tools across the board. Max Clark, the number 3 overall pick in last year's draft, an incredible runner. The Tigers think his power is really coming around. If it does, he has that upside too. I'm really looking forward to that debate. I know that's a few months off, and we're always looking at the next big thing in prospectum, but it's a debate we're going to have all summer long, and I can't wait for it.
So you can check out where all the top prospects are headed at MILB.com and MLB Pipeline, and we're headed for another swing through the realm of ghosts. Ghosts of the Minors coming up next.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you another thrilling edition of Ghosts of the Minors. Now, here's your correspondent and host, Joshua Jackson.
Welcome back to Ghosts of the Minors, in which all of you out there in radio land must identify the legitimate historical ball club or player hiding amidst the fraudulent pair. One once played until the sky grew dark. The others were never found anyplace under the sun. In the last segment, I asked you which of the following minor league baseball teams did at one time exist. A, the Wichita Jobbers. B, the Tulsa Clock Punchers. C, the Saginaw Shift Pullers. You're no slouch if you picked A, the Wichita Jobbers, who went to work in the Western Association and Western League from 1905 to about 1920. As was customary in the era, the team's moniker was chiefly an unofficial nickname applied to it by the press and local fans, and as such, the Wichita club of the early 20th century was called many things. But for our purposes, well, this one'll do, the Jobbers. A jobber is a person or a party who buys a product from a producer and brings it to market, a middleman. Jobber is a term used across multiple industries, but in Kansas of the jobber's time, jobber almost always meant somebody involved in agriculture, and most commonly in reference to dairy or livestock. Our jobbers were certainly no chickens, and in some seasons were quite bullish. In 05, the Wichita Jobbers outperformed in every which way, going 79 and 56 to pace the Western Association and seeing hurler Henry Gehring not only lead the loop with 32 wins and 10 shutouts, but also with 9 home runs. Given what they'd deliver in years to come, though, 05 was practically just on-the-job training for the Jobbers. They really got down to work in 07. That year's Jobbers crew was one of the greatest teams in minor league history, winning nearly 3 out of every 4 games to go 98 and 35. To be fair, the Leavenworth Convicts were multiple-time losers in that 07 Western Association season, getting locked into last place with a 29 and 108 record, even worse than the Jobbers were good. But with 29-game winner Harley Young, batting champ Beals Becker, and hit king Gus Hetling, Wichita was assured a lot of W's against anybody. Also on the job of getting Wichita into the history books was Joe Wilhoit. It was with the Wichita Jobbers in 1919 that Wilhoit came to represent the very pinnacle of blue-collar consistency. Day after day, Wilhoit showed up with the Jobbers and did his jobber's job, establishing a 69-game hitting streak unmatched in pro baseball to this day. He batted .505 over the run. But although the Jobbers' name had bobbed up and down over a period of about 15 years, for 1921, Wichita took on the moniker of Witches and cast away the old name. And that's how the Jobbers were let go. Now, on to the question for next time. Which of these players lost the luster in the minors of yesteryear? A. Sidney Silversmudge. B. Sidney Bronzebuster. C. Sidney Goldfader. Want to know the answer? Get a metal detector. Or tune into the next Goes to the Minors. But for now, you'll have to excuse me. My producer Ben Hill is celebrating opening day, and I've got to close up shop.
Saying goodbye on our opening day edition of the show before the show podcast. That's it. Goodbye. No, Benjamin Hill, Sam Dykstra in New York City. Believe that we have a player to guess. Sam, I think you and I are in guessing mode. I think Ben has come up with a real brain buster.
Yeah, we're turning the reins back over after Stubby Clapp last week, which was a fun one. Ben, who give us some clues on this guy?
Yeah, name that former baseball player. This gentleman played 2,300 games professionally, just about an even split between the majors and then the minors, some action in foreign countries, and independent ball. So 1,150 games in the major leagues, and another roughly 1,250 in minors, independent, foreign ball. It ended for him on domestic shores at the age of 40, suiting up for the Somerset Patriots when they were still an independent team. Prior to that, 2 years earlier, he had also played for Bridgeport, the Bluefish in the Atlantic League. His final major league appearance was 2 seasons before that with the Seattle Mariners. So he kept it going even for a number of years. Last major league appearance at 36, but played in the indie leagues up into his 40s. It all began when he signed with the Mets as a teenager, made his debut in 1997 in the Mets organization, playing for the GCL Mets and Kingsport, then 98 Kingsport, 99 St. Lucie, and Capital City, which was the organization that later became the Greenville Drive. the
Capital City. Yeah. Sorry.
Exactly. They played in Columbia. The capital in question was Columbia, South Carolina. That was Columbia's minor league team prior to the Fireflies. 2000 St. Lucie. Then he goes to the Royals organization, Omaha, Wichita, when they were the AA Wranglers. Makes his major league debut in 2001 with the Royals, but doesn't get much time there before he goes to the Expos. Plays a little with the Ottawa Lynx, or quite a lot with the Ottawa Lynx in the International League in 2002. Then back up with the Expos in 2002, and finally his first season in Major League Baseball uninterrupted with the Expos in 2003. A little bit of time with the Edmonton Trappers in 2004, but again, mostly with the Expos. 2005, split between the Philadelphia organization and the Nationals. And then back to the organization that signed him, the Mets, where he is best known for playing. In 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009.
Have we got a position on this guy yet?
No, would you like to know his position? He's an outfielder. He is a native of Venezuela.
When was the last time he played for the Mets?
His last season with the Mets was 2008, where he played 133 games for them. Then he played for his first stint with the Mariners in 2009, the Rangers in 2010, was bouncing up and down between the majors and minors at this point. Spent time in the Baltimore organization in 2012, including a few games with the Orioles, 64 games with the Orioles.
I have a guess.
Back to Seattle in 2013.
I have a guess too, but Tyler, you go first. You buzzed in, as it were.
I'm going to guess Endy Chavez.
That was also going to be
yes.
And that is correct.
Yes.
Correct.
We did it, Sam. Wow, that's
best one.
Is that 2 weeks in a row that we've gotten it on the first guess?
Yeah, well, I got Stubby Clap pretty quick.
Yeah, Stubby Clap
was on Ben's brain because
that's true.
About AAA legends who are
to be fair,
in their cities, but
whom amongst us does not have Stubby Clap on the brain on a Thursday morning? You know.
Yeah, I think he popped into my head because when he did play for the Bridgeport Bluefish in 20.
This is Endy Chavez we're talking.
Yeah, for Endy Chavez in 2016, I went to a game in Lancaster, PA, the Lancaster Barnstormers, and they were playing the Bridgeport Bluefish, and Endy Chavez was the leadoff hitter, and it was just one of those cool indie ball moments where you're like, "Hey,
I remember that guy."
That guy. So that just popped in my head. So
the NLCS catch.
Yeah, that I was gonna say, like that was gonna be my next question when I said outfielder, and you're like, "Oh, most well known for the Mets." I was like, "Is he most well known for one specific catch?"
Yeah,
exactly. Like a mid 2000s Mets outfielder, it's got to be Endy Chavez.
Yeah, that's why I kind of ran
if it's
around
not Carlos Beltran
on both sides of his career.
This is where he began.
Yeah, because once we got to that, I knew it was going to be pretty obvious. But long career, better part of. He played like 20 seasons professionally.
Yeah. He also was like the perfect like line straddling kind of guy between a big leaguer and a minor league, like to have bounced back and forth a little bit.
Yeah. And gets his one big moment. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, it signs with Somerset and Bridgeport, two teams around the New York area.
Right. Yeah.
Like, hey, we have Endy Chavez. Like that's
right. Come on out, get an autograph from the NLCS Euro. That catch is still like, every once in a while, you'll just see that catch pop up like on social media or on MLB Network or whatever. That catch is still absurd. I mean, like what a moment. And to be able to have, like you're not going to have a career that puts you in the Hall of Fame or whatever. It's the 2006 NLCS, by the way, in case, which, very possible that we've got listeners who are in their teen years who were not alive when Endy Chavez made that catch. But go look up the 2006 Game 7 NLCS catch for Endy Chavez because it is ridiculous. Scott Rowland was the hitter, which I'm sure Ben remembers being a Scott Rowland guy. But yeah, I mean, it's as good of a home run robbing catch as you can get.
Yeah, and it was all for naught.
It was. But
that was what Carlos.
Don't worry, Mets fan.
Yeah, a different Mets outfielder.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, the fact that we're still talking about it when it didn't actually matter in the end of the game is still incredible.
That'd be an interesting thing to look into. Is like just absolutely iconic moments, but in losing efforts.
Yeah, in losing efforts.
I mean, you think about like Carlton Fisk's homer, like that extended the series, but
they lost Game 7.
Yeah, they lost Game 7.
Yeah.
Was it for Cleveland in Game 7? Davis,
Rajai Davis.
Rajai Davis.
Oh, Rajai Davis is
hit a
Yeah.
game-tying home run late in the game of a
Yeah.
Game 7 of the World
Yeah,
Series.
right.
in Cleveland, a place where they haven't
Cleveland.
celebrated a World Series since what, 1946, 48?
48, yeah.
48, yeah, because
Yeah,
it was Satchel Paige's year.
They got set short shrift in that World Series because the Cubs had like the longest
Yeah.
streak. They
It
were
was the
playing a
two
team that had
longest
one.
title drought teams in American professional sports.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Cleveland's is still going. 1948.
What a great storyline and World Series that was, unless you're a Guardians / former Tribe fan. But someday you'll get yours. And hey, who knows? Maybe it's this year, because opening day is here and baseball season is underway yet again. Next week, super excited. We'll get to talk baseball with Bruce Springsteen. And that'll do it for this week's episode of the show. Before the show, big thanks to Josh Jackson for stopping by, for all of our AAA franchises that are now into the pool with their own mascots and their own ballparks and not our fantasy league stuff, whatever. But get on out to a minor league baseball game as soon as you can, because it's the best way that you will spend your spring and summer. And for Sam Dykstra, Benjamin Hill, Josh Jackson, and all the rest, my name is Tyler Mon. Happy opening day. We'll do this again next week for AA and the A-ball levels, and we'll catch you then.